"Mom, I might be at my limit. I can't eat anything." The intermittent voice was a far cry from Sheila's usual active demeanor, conveying a fragile and weak tone. Sheila seemed to be struggling to find her voice, pleading for help. "Sheila, what's going on? What do you mean you can't eat anything?" It was clear from Sheila's first plea for help that the situation was serious. "Understood. I'll come to pick you up right away. Just wait there." I set out with Samuel to Sheila's father-in-law's house. "My name is Stacy Lewis. I will soon be 62 years old. After my husband passed away about 10 years ago, I now live with my eldest son's family and my grandchildren. I took over the management of a small restaurant that my husband founded, and when he died, I was deeply saddened and unsure of what to do with the restaurant. However, thanks to Samuel's encouragement, saying, "I'll take over, so there's no need to close the restaurant filled with memories of Dad," I decided to keep it running. Besides Samuel, I have another child. That would be my daughter, Sheila. Sheila is already married and lives with her husband. She has a son who will soon start elementary school. And she mentioned, "We're thinking of celebrating my son's first school day at your restaurant. I want to report it to Dad, too." It seems Sheila had been planning this with her in-laws for some time. When I heard the news, I felt profound joy and was excitedly anticipating that day. However, on that special day, Sheila's father-in-law suddenly fell ill and was rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately, he passed away. At the funeral, seeing Violet Torres, Sheila's mother-in-law, in deep grief and shedding tears, my own memories of losing my husband resurfaced, and I remembered the days when I had lost my appetite. I could painfully understand what Violet was feeling. "Violet, it's hard, but I've experienced something similar. I was able to get through it with the support of my children and grandchildren. When your heart settles a bit, please show us your smile again." I couldn't just watch, I had to offer words of encouragement. In this way, we are each overcoming our grief and slowly finding the strength to move forward. However, I was indeed surprised by Violet's unexpected response. "Don't act like you understand. Despite losing your husband, you kept running the restaurant as if nothing happened," she said, glaring at me harshly. Surprised by her reaction, I understood that emotions could be unstable in such times, so I decided to let her words pass without being deeply hurt. I also understood the state of mind that might lead someone to say things they didn't want to say in tough situations. Therefore, without responding further, I exchanged a few simple greetings and left to return home. Months passed, and it was nearing the time for Sheila's son to start elementary school. I had a strong desire to attend my grandson's special day and witness his growth, but the Torres family was busy dealing with the bereavement, and I felt that the timing was not right. During this period, I suddenly received a call from Sheila, whom I had not heard from in a long time. "Mom, how are you? Sorry we haven't spoken in a while." Sheila's voice had regained its brightness. "I'm fine. You must be busy with the school preparations too. How has Violet been lately? Has she calmed down a bit?" Relieved to hear Sheila's voice after so long, I asked about Violet's recent condition. Since the funeral, conversations with Violet had become somewhat strained, and there had been no direct meetings. Still, I was worried about her and genuinely wanted to know how she was managing. She seems to be regaining some energy recently, but she's also been going out more. "Maybe it's a distraction," Sheila said, her voice slightly unsettled, which made me feel uneasy and prompted further inquiry. "Is something wrong?" You seemed to lose energy suddenly when you started talking about Violet, I asked, and Sheila hesitated before responding. It's not a big deal, but recently, she's been coming home drunk sometimes, and that worries me. Also, she began, and I became even more concerned. That is indeed troubling. But are there any other worries? I asked, and after a pause, Sheila began to speak in a more settled tone. Actually, after my father-in-law's funeral, my mother-in-law started living with us, and she doesn't do any household chores. I'm currently bearing all the responsibilities of the home. I think it's unavoidable, Sheila explained. Then, as if she had just remembered, she continued. I contacted you about the school entrance celebration. With the recent news of my father-in-law's death, I thought there was no room to consider a celebration. So I want to cancel the celebration we originally planned at your restaurant, Sheila proposed. Indeed, Violet might still be recovering, so it's worrying how she might react. But there definitely has to be a way to celebrate. What would be appropriate? I wondered aloud. It was disappointing that I couldn't attend my grandson's entrance ceremony, but I at least wanted to send a special gift to celebrate this milestone. Nevertheless, Sheila's response was unexpected. That's okay. I appreciate the thought alone. By the way, I need to start doing housework soon, so let's talk about this later, she said. I wanted to ask her the reason behind her abrupt end to the conversation, but Sheila didn't elaborate further and quickly ended the call. Her cold attitude left me feeling uneasy. I was quite concerned by her words that no celebration or blessing was necessary, as the meaning behind them was unclear. Initially, our conversation was normal, but as soon as I mentioned sending a gift, she abruptly changed the topic and ended the call. After discussing this with my eldest son, Samuel, and his family, they also suggested sending the gift by mail. While I strongly wished to see my grandson, I decided it might be bothersome for Sheila if I visited forcibly, so I ultimately chose to send the gift by mail. A few days later, after much deliberation on what to send as a school entrance gift, I chose a small bookshelf that would always be useful and sent it. However, I became worried when I hadn't heard from Sheila, suspecting the item might not have been received, so I decided to call her myself. Sheila? I sent a gift for your son, but I haven't heard back from you. Did you receive it? I asked. Oh, I'm sorry, I've been really busy lately and my response was delayed. But it has arrived safely. I truly appreciate it, Sheila answered. We continued to talk a little more, but Sheila's voice lacked its usual energy, and she seemed different from before. Concerned, I asked, "Are you okay? You don't seem as energetic as usual." No, there's nothing in particular. I'm just really busy. Sorry, but I need to hang up now. But thank you for the entrance gift, Sheila said, and ended the conversation. Her curt and brief responses left me confused and increasingly anxious. However, I tried to convince myself that it might just be a figment of my imagination, reassuring myself that Sheila was merely busy. Weeks passed with no further contact from Sheila, and the previous conversation lingered in my mind. Troubled by this, I decided to bring it up with my son, Samuel, and seek his advice. Sheila has always been reluctant to talk about her issues. I understand your concern, Mom, but maybe she dislikes parental interference, Samuel said. That's true. She's an adult, so I shouldn't worry too much, and I think it might not be right to contact or visit her too frequently. Besides, if our last call had been normal, I wouldn't have had to worry so much, I replied. Despite my growing anxiety, I strongly felt the need to avoid being too intrusive.